new way of kind of expanding the dialogues. If you want to say something to David, who's going to be here in a moment, and the other people who will be up here talking, we're going to make a line right here, and you come up to the microphone and speak, okay? And so, David Miller.
Well, wow, it's bright up here. Holy God. Who else is coming up? Johnny, are you coming up?
Oh, right. And anybody who wants to leave, feel comfortable leaving, okay? Because, you know, we're gonna, whoever wants to talk will talk, and you won't feel impolite if you don't. And actually, the other people might want to come up. It's up to you. Jill, are you gonna go up? I don't know. Just get going. Does anybody have any questions they want to ask?
Well, what'd you think, Johnny?
Very powerful, very moving, very emotional. I know throughout that whole entire segment I was almost shaking, but it really hit hard, but it hit in the right spot, I think. I think this is like the first opening picture that I've seen that affected me in a different way. That chose me to like feel good about what I'm doing, but like also be aware of what else is going on, especially in a young teenager's mind, perspective at least too. You captured that right on. So.
Well, it wasn't just me. I mean, the movie was made with a lot of young artists in like key positions, so I had a lot of people telling me, no, that's not how it is. Do it this way, you know, including, you know, obviously Gabriel Sunday, who stars in the movie. And I don't know how many people know it, but the star of the movie also edited the movie with my son Jordan, and with another gentleman named Eric Adams. We all wrote it together. So it was a very kind of intimate creative process that, you know, a lot of it was, we really lived by what WWAD, what would Archie do, so that we could keep the voice authentic, you know, if possible, and hopefully we captured that. How about you guys?
I don't even
We
know
were
what to
shaking.
say.
We were
I was
shaking.
literally shaking. I was literally like my legs were going. I was like, oh my god, oh my god. I just, it was, yeah, I don't even know what to say.
Oh, well,
It-
thanks.
No, it was really intense, and it makes me. It just really makes me think about what young people are going through right now with all of this technology that's constantly bombarding them, and how they can turn around and use that as a tool, but how really like thick and schizophrenic and just nuts life is for them now.
Yeah.
And you know, it always has been. I'm 32, and I remember being 16 and 17 and feeling lost and out there and alone and unloved too. But there was something about, you know, watching this and really just feeling like beat down by just all the different stuffs going on, and now young people with prescription pills, and
Yeah.
I mean, Chelsea's talks a lot about in her school about young people and drug abuse, and her sisters, and
Yeah.
it just seems to just getting layered and layered and layered and layered on top of
Yeah,
young
just-
people, just tough.
I felt it. Like
Yeah.
I really
Yeah.
felt it.
Well, I mean, it's a really tough time to be young, and I hope in the movie that we communicated that it's always also a really exciting time to be young. I mean, you know, at the end, Archie embraces his art. He embraces his camera. That wasn't his problem,
Yeah.
that he was a creative digital kid. You know, it was other things. You know, it was not connecting. I think it's the first time in the history of, you know, civilization, however you would say it, that we have a generation of young people who are, you know, really overconnected and disconnected. And a lot of it is by being better than their parents at key communication, information technology, I mean, computer skills, digital skills. I mean, the only thing I was better at than my parents then was playing. You know, I mean, I wanted to stay out till after dark. You know, I mean, you guys
Right.
are making movies on your desktop, but you're also like at 8 and 9 years old, seeing horse beatings and pornography, and you know, what does that tell you about where you fit in terms of sex and love and you know, all these important things? You have all this kind of knowledge, but instead of getting respect for all your skills, you know, and all your knowledge and all your connection, in a sense, you get the opposite from a lot of the older generation. You get, oh, you have it so easy, you have computers and video games and blah, 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 but it's not easier, you know, and that lack of respect is kind of the disconnect there. And with the movie, we actually wanted to try to show a lot of respect, you know, if that makes any sense.
No, it does.
Yeah. Are there any questions out there from the, yeah?
Could you talk a little bit about how you guys started making the film and the process of shooting it and editing it? And I read a little bit about it where you kind of made somewhat improvisationally, like as you were going. How did that work?
Well, that's a big question, because we spent a long time making it. I mean, the genesis of the film comes out of Regenerate. Regenerate is a nonprofit organization that was originally founded by my son and I when he was very young, and it can be found at regenerate.org. My son Jordan was, you know, a young filmmaker. He grew up playing Final Cut Pro alongside Tribes and Halo, you know, and when he was about 13, he was showing his work at a lot of film festivals. He made a lot of extreme sports films and was getting a lot of attention. And our local community reached out to Jordan to see if there wasn't something he could do to make media for his peers to stop car crashes in our community. And that launched Regenerate. He got a grant and made a bunch of public service announcements that actually worked and brought the numbers way down in our area and ended up playing nationally. And we realized that suicide was a major issue. And it's statistically the #2 killer of kids, but it may well be the #1 because it's grossly underreported. Everybody knows that, especially attempts are grossly underreported. So we would sit around film festivals and go, you know, what movie could we make that would, you know, fit the mission of our youth group, but also just be, you know, a badass movie? And we came up with this idea: if we wrapped a story around a kid who said he was going to kill himself for his 4th period video production class, we could address the teen condition through that movie. So we just started making the movie with no money inside the nonprofit. And our first task was to find Archie. And we searched for months and months and months. We did some traditional casting. We'd meet with people. And a partner of mine named Eric Adams, who works with Regenerate and works in this space and was ironically doing a teen isolation suicide prevention PSA in Petaluma, California, found Gabriel. And he called me and goes, I think I found Archie. And I mean, and when I met Gabriel, I mean, it was like, who am I meeting? You know, I felt like I was meeting Robin Williams at 18 years old. And he showed me this documentary he had made with 3 of his mentors in life. It was a road documentary. His mentors were Wavy Gravy, Patch Adams, the real Patch Adams, and Ram Dass, who wrote Be Here Now. And I'm like, whoa. And the documentary was beautiful. He made it when he was 15. So he was just like Jordan. He had been making movies since he was little. And we needed an actor who could, you know, hold a camera on himself and feel comfortable and could join the filmmaking process and not just be an actor. And he did. And I mean, in so many ways, I mean, the movie is Gabriel's movie. I mean, he's in every single shot. He edited the movie and joined us as a writer in post-production. So what happened then is when we had Gabe, we just started shooting. And we cut some trailers together, and Hollywood almost took us over. But they wanted to make a movie about a boy who couldn't get laid, and when he said was suicidal, he got laid like crazy. And we didn't want to make that movie. And
Suicidal American Pie.
yeah, and then he learned, oh, that's not right. So we started making it with Gabriel, and we just would raise money as we went along and shot. And a gentleman named Larry Jans joined our team, and Todd Trena, and they both made an investment. And Larry demanded that I do this silly thing, write a script. And we had been writing lots of Archie rants, and we had our acts all worked out, but we wanted to write on the timeline, because we thought a kid would write on the timeline. And so we wrote a script, and that's how we got the talent. It was a really good thing to do, because they read the script, and like David Carradine and Joe Mantegna and Mariel Hemingway, who's been phenomenal and is a suicide prevention activist, they joined us, and we shot a traditional principal photography. And if you analyze the movie, there's a very traditional 3-act story structure, and that we captured our 3-act story structure in that principal photography. And then we went back into post-production. People thought I was insane putting Gabriel and Jordan, who were both 20 years old, on as the editors of this feature, which had turned pretty big at this point. As an independent feature, I mean, it's still a little low-budget feature. And we went right back to writing on the timeline. and Gabe would write things, and we'd write things, and we'd go out and shoot it. And Gabe took cameras home. He actually lived on the set. He lived in that little pool house. And at night, he'd pour his heart out into that camera. And we really fleshed out the character in the beginning, those intimate moments with the character in the beginning, and then the ending. And throughout the process, especially in this forum, we worked with health professionals to make sure that our message was spot on. 2 of them who are phenomenal. One is Dr. Edwin Schneidman, who is the father of suicidology, a fantastic guy who we recently lost. He was in his 90s. And he thought this was he said it was the most exciting movie he'd ever seen for teen suicide prevention. And another one named Dr. Elaine Leader, who is this wonderful woman who's been running a teen hotline since the early 80s in Los Angeles. And they guided us to keep our message spot on. I mean, if you analyze things, Archie found help with the psychiatrist. He had a couple of bad ones there, who were horrible, which is real. And the 72 hours, if you say you're going to commit suicide, that's what happens. They handcuff you, and they take you away. And every kid we interviewed, and all of our research showed that when you came back from that 72 hours, you were more fucked up than when they took you in. That was not a good thing. But he found somebody who reached him, and we didn't want him to get the girl at the end. And all of these things really became important to us. So certain scenes, like that last scene after Sierra ate the pills, we shot that late. We brought her back. And then the process of shooting was just a blast. We had 1 million cameras. I told the kids in editing, appropriate media from anywhere you want. We'll deal with it later, which we did. Same thing with music. And I would hand cameras to the actors, and particularly Gabe, but the girl, Brooke Nevin, she had never shot a camera before, and we kept handing her cameras, and on the rooftop, she was really shooting her camera. And she did a really great job, and she really took it seriously, which was great fun. So it was kind of an organic, very long process. Post was 2.5 years, because all the animation was done afterwards. Yes? Oh, okay. Oh.
I just wanted to say, I think, the movie is really incredible, and it had all these flashbacks to adolescence, which I'm not sure I wanted to have, but it was really good and really powerful. But I wanted to ask Chelsea, as a 17-year-old member of the audience, and given the really powerful installation you have in the back, what sort of resonance this film had for you, and do you think it hit its mark?
What was the last thing you said? Do I think it's what?
What kind of resonance it had for you, and if you think that it hit its mark, if it did the job that it was supposed to do?
Yes, I felt everything. I really felt everything. I thought it was just amazing, and it hit every emotion I had in my body, and I could just relate to everything he said, everything he felt, how he felt. I felt everything. I thought it really hit it. Really hit the spot.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the system is to
Microphone,
come to the mic.
thanks.
Jill will sing for us as that's going on.
Yeah, I was going to say that I thought it was a fabulous film. It really was so honest, and it was very courageous. I come from a family where my grandfather committed suicide, and nobody ever talks about it. And I only found out, like, fairly recently. And it was a very odd thing. I mean, it was a shock.
Yeah.
And then every time I go to prompt some members of my family to talk about it, nobody will talk about it. And so it's this weird, horrible thing that's, under the surface. But I think it was really superly done, super quality. I love the graphics, and I love all the, the virtual places where people go with their thinking. But I thought it was a really fabulous film, very courageous.
Thank you.
And I guess I wanted to ask, what was your motivation for
Yeah.
doing it?
Well, thanks for the comments, and just a couple of the things you said. I mean, the whole thing about Sierra hiding her brother's suicide, I mean, that came out of not only our research, but when we were trying to put the movie together, and we would talk to people about making a grant to the nonprofit or investing in the movie, and they would tell us their suicide stories. I mean, everyone has one like yours, and I had no idea how many people this touched. And one of us told that her brother's suicide had been hidden. She came out in a meeting we were having, to try to put the movie together, and she goes, "I just want to say that my brother committed suicide." Do you know what I mean? It was very inspirational like that. And, and you had talked about the graphics, and I mean, there's two people who are clearly part of Archie, because we wanted Archie just to animate things that were important to him. And one of them is Arvind Batista, who is our animator. All the animation was done by one kid, just like a kid would do it. I mean, I thought about going to an animation house, but a kid wouldn't be able to do that, and no animation house would work the way we were working, which was just like, well, we're scribbling. We don't know what we're doing. We have no schedule and no budget. Will you work with us forever? That wasn't going to work. And Arvind did it all, and then all the effects were done by one, and they were both 23 when they joined us, one young man named Joe Castelli. And so it was just like Archie would do it, which hopefully helped that honesty. It would be exactly what a kid would do. And as you notice, he animated more things in the beginning because that reflected his narcissism. And as he connected, his animation became more about his connection, and it wasn't happening as much. In terms of why we made it, it was clearly, we have this group, Regenerate. We're devoted to fighting teen suicide. And we realized that our public service programming was reaching people, but not like a movie like this could reach people. Not only could it have a wider release, because even if you aren't into suicide prevention, hopefully the movie's entertaining, and if you are, it's more visceral. It can have a much wider reach, and we feel like it already has, because we've played it all over the world, and all over the world, it's helped pull young people back from the ledge and helped families communicate. And your parents will go back and hug their kids after they see the movie, and kids will tell their parents what's happening in their lives. And I mean, we had one boy who dug his suicide note out of a trash can and showed it to his father right after he saw the movie, and it changed the entire family dynamic. And I mean, young people need to know that they're not alone in their pain, and that's what we wanted to communicate, and that's why we made the movie.
Hello.
Hey.
It just dawned on me that we haven't been introduced to everyone sitting up here. So I'm wondering if Jill and Johnny, if you could introduce yourselves and tell about your organization a little bit, and why you felt it was important to be here tonight, and any reflections you have on the film.
Thank you very much. Excuse me for, for entering a little bit late. My name is Jill Ordonez, and I'm the director of United Way 211 and Contact Lifeline. We're out of Family and Children's Service of the Capital Region, out of Albany. And the reason we're here today is because through our work with Contact Lifeline, which is a hotline, we talk to people who are in need of emotional support, who might be depressed, despairing, thinking about suicide, and we talk to them every day on the phone. So we are part of suicide prevention efforts in the Capital Region, and we deeply care about the people who are out there that are in need of support. So What I'd also like to say about our organization is that we're actually starting, just really in a timely way, we're starting a new program to reach youth, and that's called Crisis Chat, because we recognize that the youth aren't reaching out on the hotline quite as much. As you can see in the movie, the young people were, texting and sending video on the phone, and that's how they were communicating. So we know that we want to interact with youth the way that they're interacting. We also plan to add on text as a way for young people to reach out to us as well in the future. So I have some flyers about our Crisis Chat program over on the table, as well as flyers about our Contact Lifeline 211 program. 211 connects people in the community to essential community resources. It's an easy to remember number. We also take the calls for the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, which is a national network of crisis call centers. So the reason that we felt it was important to be here today is because for me, when I was able to preview this film, I thought that it had a really strong suicide prevention message, that it was very inspiring, especially for somebody who's working within the suicide prevention field. It was very inspiring to me, kind of reigniting my flame to reach out to young people, and reminding me of the amount of pain that they go through, and the sense of alienation and the separation that they feel, and that there is hope for them, and that we can reach out, and that there can be transformation. And I really loved it that the young man in this film had two significant positive influences, both in the psychiatrist who helped him transform, even though he was very resistant at the beginning, and also the poet, who I think was some pretty strong spiritual guidance for him right at the right time when he needed it. So I really loved the ending. Thought it was so strong, especially after all the darkness and confusion and chaos at the beginning. It was just really, really strong. So, thank you.
I just have to say that I've never had this happen before, because I was in the back emailing while the movie was on, and Jill kept popping in on the phone. I'm like, who is this on the phone all the time? And she was getting calls and talking kids down while the movie was going on. And it was like wow, I've never had that happen before. It was beautiful. And it was very unique. Sorry, Johnny.
No.
Thank you.
Well, my name is Johnny. I'm actually a volunteer in the Capital District for the Trevor Project, which is a nationwide 24/7 hotline, first based for the LGBTQ community, for youth, for suicide prevention. Originally based in Los Angeles, California. We have also a new office in New York City, and we're slowly creeping up the Hudson River up to the Capital District region to spread the word, and to also gain more education and prevention to the youth about suicide prevention. Something unique that we do have is called the Lifeguard Workshop, which we go to local high schools all over, especially around Albany, and we train and we also talk to the youth in middle schools or high schools, and we get their opinion, and we teach them, introduce different ways of communication and how suicide is affecting them, and also introduce the LGBT community into the fraction of suicide, and how there's an elevated risk associated with that, and identities. We also offer alternative resources such as Trevor Space, which is a social networking site for youth ages around 13 to the mid-20s, to reach out to other youth who are going through, to reach out, to communicate, for outreach, for resources to other teens who are experiencing the same thing. We also offer Dear Trevor, which is an awesome resource for kids to write to our experienced counselors, and to get a response back through email services. So, I mean, I joined this, I volunteered because I just heard the incredible story of how this organization was formed several years ago, and its message to especially include and to for inclusiveness throughout all the youth, whether their identity happens to be gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, otherwise queer or straight. So, I mean, after seeing this movie, I mean, I came here out of awe because I've heard of this movie. I've not seen the trailer, I've not seen any pictures, but I heard it was a very emotional, moving story. And I had to come down here, and the Trevor Project definitely wanted to see where this was going, and definitely to network with you and to just, experience this firsthand. And I know me and my friend who I was with, we were stunned. We both were shaking. We both felt the pain and the experience that Archie went through. And it was incredible just how a movie like that could project out to you, and how it touched, us, being that we're around that same age as Archie was, and we all went through that similar phase, in high school, either being outcast or being popular, but yet having that deep secret of pain. So I mean, it touched us in a different dimension that we can't even explain. So I was really moved, and I cannot express the most gratitude for having us here to experience this with you. So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Great.
Yeah.
I've never had to run out of a movie because I couldn't breathe. That's the first time that happened to me ever. I couldn't even see them.
Oh.
Sorry.
I never had to run out of a movie before because I couldn't breathe, because that's how touching the movie was. I started crying downstairs in the art gallery. And yeah, I've never seen a movie like this before, ever in my life.
Wow.
So,
Well,
thank you.
thank you. I mean, because, and I'm really thrilled, that you guys here at the Media Sanctuary have brought us together, because this is our first interface with the Trevor Project. And I'm familiar with it and really respect what you guys have been doing, and I hope we can do stuff together with the movie. It'd be great. Yeah.
I'd just like to say one more thing as well. We were talking about inspiration, and that I know the movie was inspiring to me. Just wanted to say that if anybody feels inspired to join in suicide prevention efforts locally, we are looking for volunteers. We have a great training program. We're looking for volunteers on our hotline as well as our crisis chat line. So that would include young people, people of all ages. Thank you.
Oh, one more thing too, I forgot. I'm sorry. Also, what I mentioned of our hotline, it's open to anybody, regardless of race, gender, identity, anything. We have gotten calls from people who age from youth to 80 years old about suicide calls, and it's been phenomenal that we handle loosely a lot of different diverse calls from different people, whether whoever they are, and it is open, and I think it's the first, and I think it's the only currently that it's 24/7. So it's open, 3 o'clock in the morning when you wake up from the bad dream, or 5 o'clock before you get ready to go to school or work. It's always there for you. So I think it's an incredible experience to have a 24/7 hotline out there, especially for youth when they need it. So, sorry.
I don't think we have anybody else standing up here, so, oh yeah, Devorah, come on.
So as somebody who works in community media, this was a really thrilling project to watch. I worked with Harlem Hospital Injury Prevention, and we were trying to address issues of suicide prevention in the African American community. And there was sort of like a thing, well, that African American kids don't do that. And at first I kind of thought that was true. And then I had 2 young men come and stay with me whose father I knew. He was in a graduate program. We worked together. The family was reasonably dysfunctional. And they stayed with me for a long period of time, until some of their behavior was beyond my capacity to cope with it. And they left, and I thought they were okay. I followed them through friends, and then they kind of disappeared into the ether of time that passes. And then I got a phone call from a very dear friend of mine who introduced me to their father. at New Year's, and I thought it was just a message on my phone, hey, you know, call me, it's the New Year. So I called him and he said, I just called to tell you that this young man killed himself and his father blames you. And that was because his son left home and took refuge in my home. And I tried to negotiate the space between the two of them. Yeah. So, in earnestness, the thing that jolted me in this film was I had sort of put a disconnect on that. I mean, I knew that I have clothes that this kid left in my house, shirts that I still wear. And literally, he haunts my house. He was just this, he was like this kid. He was tender, he was creative, and he didn't fit the mold of this patriarchy that he lived under. So I take that labyrinth to say that you said you showed this film the world over, and I kind of wonder how it talks across race and class. Yeah. And I wanted to know if you'd talk about that. And also about gender orientation, because as I watch the film, it's very easy for me to like go along with the storyline, but I do wonder as how young LBGT kids would look at this and say, well, I loosely fit into this, but this isn't really my issue, and okay, in a kind of like back in the day, 90210, you know, the story helps to modify behavior kind of thing. It's okay, but I think that I kind of want to, so it's a question to you.
You're asking a lot of questions.
Right? But I'm also asking, you know, to the folks from the Trevor Project, that kind of thing.
How it spoke,
And then, and so the final layer.
More questions? Okay. I don't know if you're going to have to remind me of all the questions.
It is about the folks who are left behind, because the young woman's character, excuse me, kind of addresses that.
Oh, yeah.
You know, your project so addresses that. What happens to the people who are left in the wake of suicide? So I sort of feel like there needs to be a sequel.
Okay, well, let me try to address some of them, and then I'll toss it to you guys too. I mean, well, in terms of the people left behind, I mean, that's Sierra's shattered family. Okay, I mean, they deal with it very heavily. I mean, that Mariel Hemingway character is in such complete and total pain and denial, and the father, when he's breaking down watching it again, is in such total pain and denial. I think you get it at the funeral, and I mean, you know, that's a very important message, and we've received worldwide people talking about like, wow, now I understand what it would be like to leave somebody behind. In terms of the gender issue, we're acutely aware. I mean, in our Trevor Project was one of the things we studied. I think it's like a 35% more chance if you're a gay teenager.
4 times more likely.
Yeah, to kill yourself, more times likely. And the Shane character, who was the quarterback of the football team, in our mind, well, we didn't push it, and we chose not to push it, but in our mind, he was gay. And that was why he didn't fit in. And that was our motivation for why the family hid it. It was an extra reason for them to hide it. And there's things throughout the movie that we didn't push. Like, I've had so many people come up to me who are anorexic, go, oh my God, you know, that was about me. And I think we mentioned anorexic once in this fast section in the beginning, and it just like hit them, and then boom, that, you know, the Archie's journey was their journey. So what we were really trying to articulate, and again, this was working, we were talking about this earlier with health professionals, you know, we tried to put that into the narrative. I mean, for example, when they hop in the car, I mean, the most dangerous time for teenagers is when they've witnessed one of their friends kill themselves, okay? And because suicide will go in clusters then. They were in serious danger in that car. She could have easily killed them in that car. And I think it was the connection Archie had made with her that helped, you know, have her not do that. So all of those issues that you're talking about, we are aware of. Now, in terms of, ultimately, this particular story, is a white kid who's got a camera and he's got some, his parents are doing okay, and that is this particular story. But we have found that it has played across race and across, gender orientation and across, like overseas, it plays so strongly. I think we've just launched our Facebook page, which I encourage everybody to get on and help get the message out. And we have, I think, 8,000 members so far from around the world. We played the Philippines. 1,200 of them are from the Philippines. And I'm still not sure why. We sent our animator, Arvin Batista, who presented the film, he's Filipino, there, and clearly the movie is resonating in the Philippines, and we know throughout Europe. And what's curious is that in other countries besides this country, which so imposes a lack of respect on young people with the rating system, that a 15-year-old can't see this movie, we are in 14 and above and family film festivals everywhere in the world except for here. Okay? And this is an R-rated movie that every 14-year-old should see. And I would argue that, the word fuck and the word cunt is in this movie. And, our kids can see 400 people get mowed down by machine guns, and it's PG for Steven Spielberg to reach in a body and tear a heart out. But they can't see this movie. And it's just got to change. And hopefully, I don't know, maybe we can help that, I don't know. There's a lot of other questions. Do you guys want to answer some of those questions?
You said, it's about 35 to 40% for LGBTQ youth more likely to commit. And it surprisingly doubles nearly when you factor in if you have families that are not accepting or friends that are not accepting, especially in either the workplace or even an educational system, where we have seen a lot of that happen throughout, the region. You have different conservative districts that do not allow certain GSAs or certain, types of organizations that will actually help consult and maybe prevent some youth from thinking about this. And I know education and awareness is the two main things that we need to get this out here. And this movie right here, let me just tell you, is one of the top, things that we need to show everybody, regardless of who they are, because even if they're 14, no one talks about this stuff. And especially when, majority of the people who are considering suicide are young, we need to show this now as an education and awareness type, not for just fun and games like you see, you play like Halo or those types of games that, that my sister who's 9 could play, Frankly, she can beat me at that game. So, it's scary that we cannot put this in front, regardless if it says, if it swears, if it shows, brief nudity. Because frankly, that's what, the real world is right now, is just showing that and getting that out of the way as taboo and putting that to the point as this is what we face right now. It's not censored, it's not fake, it's not covered up into like a sweet, little Sunday. It's real life, and this is what we need to this is what we need to show, regardless of age right now. Because it works, frankly. People see this, they talk about it, more awareness, and it just grows on up into something else, and it can prevent suicide, frankly, in my opinion. So
Yeah, I just wanted to briefly comment that I think another one of the teachings of the film is, or the themes is around how kids can commonly miss signs of suicide, in their friends, and they obviously miss the signs in Shane. I'm sorry, not Shane. What was the character's name? Corey. And that's what I would hope that teens seeing this film also would understand, is how to better recognize the signs that emotional pain can lead to suicide attempts and suicide completions. And that's real, that emotional pain can be as debilitating as a physical illness. And that's something that we don't recognize.
And it's a kid that is right there that you wouldn't notice. He's there with that, cool, wild, popular kid. And frankly, we planted him. He's all through the movie. all the way in the very beginning of the movie. He's all over the Archie arrest, but you don't necessarily notice him. And we actually, if you remember, there was a boy in the beginning of the movie who talks about, I want to learn, and I'd kill myself just to see what people's reactions would be. Well, that was real documentary footage from very, very early on. That's a real kid. And his friend was this kid who kept trying to talk, but he wouldn't let him talk. And he seemed a little sad, and he wanted to talk, but this kid wouldn't let him talk. And then when he would start to talk, he didn't know what to say. And we actually based the characters of Corey and Earl on those two real kids. I don't know if anybody recognized that one was Michael Welch from Twilight. This crowd probably wouldn't. Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh. He can barely walk down the street now. He's become like a star. I mean, like, he's a very good guy, too. Did you want to comment on any of that stuff?
I mean,
Well, I guess, about being someone who's been left behind by someone who's committed suicide, I think it's also really important to give people like us and other people who've lost people, a platform to express what that pain feels like, and that at the core of that is kind of this loss or lack of love. That if he did this, if he killed himself, he didn't love me enough. And I think that's a theme that runs throughout Chelsea's work with her sisters and brother. And I think a piece like Chelsea's would be really powerful to go kind of alongside with your piece too, and just kind of balance out the person who's really contemplating in this whirlwind and the stress and all this chaos, and then that chaos that's kind of left behind. And I think the thing that links the two stories also is using the video camera, turning the video camera on yourself as a healing tool, which Archie does in the film, and Chelsea in real life does that too. I don't know, Chelsea, if you want to just say a couple words about how using the video camera has kind of helped you and your sisters deal or not deal with it, or...
I think it actually just gives us a chance to open up and express our feelings and just say what we're thinking or feeling, or any questions we have, because it just got cut off when my dad killed himself. We were like, what now? Why? How come? We were just like, what? We didn't know what to do, and so many years we just kind of blocked it out, I guess, and we didn't know how to deal with it or how to heal from it. And then when I turned this video camera on, all of a sudden, and started asking my siblings questions, and we just kind of were like, well, we need to get past this. We need to just start talking about it, and we need to only talk to, we only talk to each other. We wouldn't be able to talk to a stranger about it. So it's kind of opening up and, just trying to let it all out, because we don't know how else to deal with it. Just expressing our feelings is all we can do. We didn't, the abandonment feeling that he talks about is something I could relate to, and loss of love, it's just something that we deal with and feel every day, no matter what the situation is or what we're doing or where we're at. It's just that always gut feeling we have. And I think I could speak for my sisters with that too. We all feel the same way, even though we all have different ways of dealing with it. But just when I turn that camera on and they see me, they're like, oh, here comes Chelsea with the camera. What are we gonna do? And it just, as soon as I have the camera on them, they just open up. They just start talking.
Well, communication, connection. given him that. Yes.
Really well done. The way you weaved so many aspects of it was just really good. But there was one part that you haven't talked about that struck me, and it was shocking to Archie as well, and that was Chelsea's cutting.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to know if you could talk about that and how that relates to suicide and science
Yes,
of it.
Sierra's cutting, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, cutting is really common. We encountered a lot of cutting in our documentary research, when we used documentary film to really research our story. Please, suicide experts, correct me if I'm wrong. Girls cut more than boys. Cutting is not necessarily, they don't commit suicide very often, cutters, because they're trying to feel something, and they're feeling through cutting. Sierra, our character was doing that, but Sierra had more going on. I mean, she was, seriously suicidal, but all suicide is characterized by ambivalence. And ambivalence can lead towards hope, in a sense. I mean, that's why Sierra was reaching out to Archie, in a sense, because she was looking for a way not only to do it, but a potential way out. And Archie, through connection, could provide either of those, and almost did provide the wrong side. So the cutting was that first step, towards her letting him into her secret life. In some ways, this is a weird thing to say, Sierra represented the bad guy in the beginning, because she represented the potential, for Archie to really do it, because he was ambivalent too, but he was not as serious as she was. And then their journey was to connection, their journey was to giving, which is really that key to healing and frankly the key to happiness. The happiest people in the world are people who've devoted themselves to something bigger than themselves, something that they're passionate about, to giving and connecting in life. But
It's good to know that they don't often kill themselves, because it is very prevalent in girls, I know.
Yeah. We've encountered some crazy stuff. We encountered one girl who had carved failure into her arm. And of course there's the group To Write Love on her arm. Mm-hmm. It's a wonderful group. So yeah, it's pretty prevalent right now. But the other thing you were talking about with younger kids, right now, the highest rising demographic for suicide is skewing younger. It's 10 to 14-year-olds. This is something new in our society. And I think it's a direct result of what we were talking about earlier, about what it's like to be young, and that you've got 9-year-olds, watching Saddam get hung, and who could get any kind of information, and are not getting that communication. So, I know there's older people in the audience. As parents, it's our job to acknowledge these kids are going to see these things. These kids are better at these technologies than us. We need to communicate. We don't need to put our heads in the sand or try to banish it or censor it. We need to communicate about what it means, and that's showing respect to them. And they deserve more respect now than ever before. Yes?
I think that what we'll do now is we'll break up and we can talk individually. And so I just also want to say to you that Chelsea and Victoria's piece is over here if you want to watch it. There's also a book, right, that people could sign?
Around the corner by the bathroom, we have a journal that if people want to share their stories or write letters to their loved ones who've passed, anything like that at all, anonymous or not, it's just on the table right next to the bathroom, and feel free to write. And we talked about maybe putting it on a blog, or just not, keeping it to yourself, and kind of maybe keeping this journal with Chelsea's installation project, and maybe it'll travel around and we can collect stories of people who have people they've lost to suicide.
Thanks. And also, David is going to be setting up a little laptop if you want to try to be one of the first people to give a video testimonial on the My Suicide Facebook page. We're going to try that. And we want to just thank all of you for being here tonight. And thank you, David, for this great movie.
So there are actually 2 laptops, I think. If people want to give personal testimonials, that would be great.